Hey everybody, Gary here with Guitar Tricks, and in this video I want to share with you some tips for if you're learning guitar for the first time well into your adulthood. But before we get into this, please go ahead and click subscribe so that you get the latest and greatest content from Guitar Tricks. And if you want to be notified of any new lesson, be sure to tap the bell and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see in future lessons. That's where we're always looking for ideas. Okay, my next tip might be one that really separates people in terms of whether or not they're going to stick with it and make a lot of progress, or quit, or just do it so little that it doesn't really become part of their lives. And that is playing with others or for others. So students, and I have one student that's in his 70s that made the most progress when he started going to his local VFW or something hall where they had like a song circle, and all these guys would just come together and gals and just play songs. You know, they had a book. They all got the book. They printed out the music. There was like 100 songs in there, just lyrics with chords written down, and they would just for an hour once a week play these songs. So he would just work on songs in that book, and he was interested in playing something other than just open chords. So then he used that. He knew, like, okay, these 5 songs are always popular. People always play them. I want to be able to play the chords up on the neck more so that I'm doing that while, so having that motivation to play with others, because music is a communal thing. It's something we share with one another. It's a way for us to connect. Music is great by yourself, but I'm telling you, there's nothing like connecting with other people when you're singing, to get one person singing, one playing, or just playing the same thing at the same time as someone else and you're locked in. There's studies that have shown that people in a chorus, when they all start singing together, something happens where even their heartbeats synchronize. I've read about this. Like, there's something about playing with others that's really it just feels good to us, for whatever mystical reason. It's something we do as humans, right? We're natural beings. We do this music thing. We get together and we do this music thing, whether we do it in religious settings, sporting events, concert halls, school, patriotic purposes. Like, song together is what it's all about. So find a way, whether it's a local meetup, inviting friends and family over. I had one student that would organize porch concerts during COVID. He'd go out on his front porch and he'd put on backing tracks and he would play the guitar parts. That kept him motivated. That kept him learning songs. I always see that's what gets people the most excited, is when they have a way to play with others. And the ones that, when they say during that first lesson, oh, I want to play with my son, he plays guitar, right? Or I want to play with my wife, she plays keyboard. Like, those are the students I know off the bat, like, wow, that is such a strong motivation that you want to connect through music. So, highly recommend that. Again, if you don't have anyone to play with, use the looper and jam with yourself. That's cool too, because that looper will feel like someone else, and then you play, let's say, the melody on top, and now you're feeling that connection. Even though you're connecting with yourself, there's still something really cool when that happens. My final tip is work on your rhythm. And I mean that in 2 ways. One, even if you want to learn lead guitar, focus on developing a good foundation of rhythm guitar. And the other thing is just to work on your rhythm. I would say that the biggest thing that has improved my playing is learning drums and studying rhythm. What's great about learning drums is that you develop independence between the beat and the rhythms that happen on top. So when you're playing drums, and I know you can't see me right now, but if I'm keeping a beat in my foot and now I'm playing a rhythm on my shoulder, and suddenly every limb is doing something different, it's kind of the same in a piece of music. You need to hear the beat, feel the beat, play rhythms on top. Sometimes you have multiple rhythms going on at the same time. Then you have other parts that are playing one rhythm, you're playing another. I had one student that said, I try to block out what's happening in the backing track. Or, when he's trying to learn a song, he tries to block things out so he could focus just on his part. And I'm like, no, you're missing the ability to hear all parts as one whole. So by developing kind of rhythmic independence, especially just between the beat and the rhythm, you are really developing your ability to play to the beat and to play with the beat and play in between the beats, right? Also, learning about subdivisions. So if this is our beat, knowing, okay, at the most basic, I have whole notes, which last 4 of these. Da, da. They're called whole notes because they take up a whole measure. Usually a measure is 4 beats. Sometimes it's different, right? Half notes take up half a measure. Da, da. Quarter notes, da, 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 da. Eighth notes, da, 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 da. 8 in the space of 4 beats. Triplets, da, 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 da. 3 per beat. 16th notes, da, 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 da. 4 per beat, right? 16th note triplet. 16th note triplets. Running out of breath there, but 6 in the space of 1 beat. So for me, as I'm doing that, I'm just kind of visualizing and feeling time being evenly distributed across a continuum, either really closely together, more spaced out, right? This rhythmic grid starts to become automatic. So learning a little bit about rhythm, getting more used to the beat being the ultimate thing that keeps us together. The beat is the glue that keeps a band together, that keeps the singer with the guitar player. The beat is the king of everything. There is no cohesion without the beat. Every song you hear, there's a BPM, beats per minute, right? That's that underlying pulse. Sometimes that pulse is given to you by a drummer very clearly. Sometimes it's not there at all. It's up to you as the rhythm guitar player to develop the pulse. So the first thing I did as an elementary school teacher with kindergartners was try to develop first beat and then rhythm that happens on top of the beat. So beat is a constant. Rhythm is a mixture of short and long percussive events that happen over the beat, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now, being able to do that when you start to learn fingerstyle guitar, that's kind of what's happening where, like, say the thumb is keeping the beat while the other fingers start to do other things, right? So then it's kind of like my thumb became my snap and my other fingers became this. So any sort of rhythmic practice will improve your guitar playing. And drums and just rhythms with the body are going to get you so locked into just thinking about, not even thinking about, but feeling pulse and prioritizing rhythm. And that is one of the huge things I see older learners struggle with. 1, because they don't realize it's a priority. 2, because they're alone, so they're not in a situation where the beat is the glue, because there's no one for them to feel glued to because they're playing alone. Maybe they haven't danced for a long time. Dancing gets us into the beat, but we all have it. We just have to prioritize it and work on it. Okay, the final thing I want to share is don't compare yourself to others. And as a subset of that, realize that the joy of music is in the moment and not to focus on the outcome. So The thief of joy when it comes to any creative endeavor is comparing, how good am I as a creator, right? Which is absurd because the act of creation is an act of cathartic, transformative release of playfulness, of joy, of exploration, everything that has nothing to do with comparison. The moment you bring comparison and, rating into it, I saw some guy on TikTok. I was on TikTok live because I'm trying to think about putting music lessons on TikTok. And the guy labeled himself as a guitar player as the unrivaled, he wrote unrivaled fingerstyle tapping guitar. And I wanted to be like, oof, you lost me at the word unrivaled. Like, if music is a sport, I don't want anything to do with it. I'd rather go play baseball. I grew up playing baseball. To me, music was the exact opposite of the competition that I felt in baseball. It was release, it was rebellion, it was expression, right? So the moment you are with your guitar, that is what it's all about, that moment. Your desire to get better should be rooted in your desire to go more deeply into that process in the moment. So the more you learn about it, the more you learn, the more opportunity there is to have that deeper experience with the instrument and to provide a deeper experience for the listeners, right? Because the deeper you go into it, the more you're able to share with them and the more they're able to kind of be under the spell of that music. Music is a spell. So it's much more rewarding when your desire to get better is rooted in curiosity, a wanting to have a more deeper experience and joyful experience for yourself and to create a more joyful experience for others, and to just be able to have more fun because you have more to play with, right? And you're able to play at a higher level or to express yourself more fully. It's like having a great vocabulary. The better your vocabulary, the better you're able to speak a language, the more detailed the things you're able to share can be, the more subtle, the more poetic, the more beautiful. It's the same as on an instrument. So, but if your intention is to just be, well liked and for people to go, wow, look at you. We all know that's futile in life. We all know we think that's what we want. And then when we catch ourselves operating from that mentality, it's almost embarrassing, right? It's just childish. So you'll have far more joy if you stop comparing yourself to others and aim to get better just to express yourself better and create a fuller experience for yourself and the listeners. Also realize that no matter where you're at in the journey, the feeling of learning and playing is the same. It's just like I just said, some are doing it at a more detailed level. Some are doing it at a much more simple level. But I've seen 6-year-olds have as ecstatic as an experience on the 4th day of ever playing an instrument as I have had, probably more. Right? I've seen a group of children just banging on a drum, having the time of their lives. So approach it that way if you can. This is something that obviously we struggle with throughout our lives, but today is all we have. This moment is all we have. The ability for us in a moment to find some time to explore music and learn is such a blessing. So, and even though I'm saying all these things, these are the very things I struggle with and the kind of self-talk that I have to give myself repeatedly. So yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know in the comments how the journey is going for you learning guitar. If any of these ideas were helpful, if you have your own ideas that you'd like to share. Also, to help you on your journey is guitartricks.com. Like I said, start with songs. We have a whole library of high-quality song lessons with multi-video tutorials, downloadable tab to help support what you're listening to and watching. There's also step-by-step courses on different genres, fundamentals, blues, country, rock, all sorts of other great stuff. Happy playing, and I'll see you next time.